Hi Flosstube, it's Audrey Marine, and it's been 4 weeks and I apparently have forgotten how to do everything. So, we're gonna try to get through this. Okay, it has been 4 weeks. 4 weeks ago I said I'd see you in 3 weeks. Guess what didn't happen? Didn't happen. But because it's been so long since I've recorded a video, I do have plenty of things to show you. I have a couple finishes and then lots of progress on whips. And before I forget, I have a floss tube to recommend, particularly for my Francophile friends. A couple weeks ago, I had a recommended video pop up when I logged into YouTube, and it was a floss tube, first floss tube video, and now he has 2 out. First floss tube video by a gentleman in France named Laurent. And even if you don't understand French, go, check out his videos and look at what he's stitching, because, you don't necessarily need to understand what he's saying to admire his work. And, but I'm glad that I found it for a number of reasons. But, there's like a bunch of things I want to say, and I'm trying not to forget anything. But his handle is great. So it was a recommended video that popped up, and I was like, oh my God, floss tube in French. This is amazing. It's wonderful. And it's like French in action and floss tube combined. And if you guys don't know what French in action is, oh my goodness. Okay. So Laurent, his handle is Les Trois Mousquetaires. Oh, which is so funny. So funny, because Les Trois Mousquetaires is the 3 musketeers, but croix is like cross or cross stitch in French. So he's like the cross stitch musketeer. It's funny. And I was so excited when I found this, and that his handle was really funny. And I was telling Ryan about this, and I didn't even have to explain it to him. He was like, that's good. And I was like, I know it's good. It's good. But he has 2 videos out now, and he's just nice to listen to. I don't know if you can get translated subtitles. I'm not sure. But like I say, he shows a lot of owl forest embroidery, and then some other designers that we've all heard of. So, and if you don't like them, you don't have to watch them. I've heard there's been more negative comments left on people's videos lately, and I remember ages ago Brenda saying, just move along. And that's what I think. If you don't like it, just move along. But I did enjoy Laurent's videos, and I hope you will too. Okay, so let's get into, I think that's the only floss tube recommendation I have. I have been watching pretty much the same stuff I've always been watching. A lot of Evertote and Off the Grid, which are both Caroline, but one also has Carrie from Roxy Floss Co. And then Brenda and the Serial Starter. And true to form, Laura is starting all the things and ignoring assignment stitching. But that's not my problem. That is not my problem. I'm doing my job. And who else have I been watching? Kim, Contented Needleworker Kim. She had a lot of great whips to show on her last video. Who else? If I think of more, I'll pop them in. Okay, so I have things nicely ironed, and I'll just start with what's on the top, which is this Reflet de Soie. This is Des Fleurs toute l'année. This is a sampler, but not a reproduction, and I chose this to do throughout the year. So there are 12 vases, or 12 bouquets, and I'm gonna do 1 a month. So there's Janvier, which I completed and showed on my last video, and then Février I have started. I started that last night, got a couple hours into it, and need to finish it up before the end of the month. And I haven't stitched any of the words yet. There's this poem in French that runs throughout. I have not gotten to that because I don't like how the words are arranged around the bouquets. So I'm going to stitch the bouquets and then stitch the wording and hopefully place them so it's more pleasing to me. I also think I'm going to make the names of the months as small as the rest of the words. I don't necessarily need the names of the months to be in bold and all caps. I am stitching this on 46 count silica from number 12 Stitch Co. And I think the camera is picking up the color. I think that's a pretty good representation. It's got a teeny tinge of pink in it. which is nice with the color palette. I'm using the Called For Gloriana. Aren't those colors magnificent? Look at those. Very pretty. So lots of pinks and purples and greens. I love these silks. These, I think for me, are my, I think I still love the 103 is the best just because it's so easy to take thread off the spools and you don't have to separate anything. And I like how it lays on the fabric, how my stitches look. But I love how these feel and I love working with them and I think they look really good when stitched. And these floss drops are from Charlie Feathers, CHRLY. And you can find her on Instagram and figure out how to order from her through her Instagram. But yep, Gloriana. So, I mean, this was not an inexpensive project to kit up, but I think it's gonna be just gorgeous when it's all done. I love the variegation, but as I mentioned in my last Flosstube, it's been kind of difficult for me because some of the threads are so heavily variegated from one end to the other. I really have to do full crosses individually instead of doing the back and forth that I like to do. But still really like it. And then this part of the basket, I mean, this is one thread and look how it goes from brown to red to brown again to gold. Yeah, it's very pretty. So I will finish February. I will finish Février before the end of February. And then it won't be long that I'll have to wait until I can start on Mars. So this one, it's nice because it's such a big project, but I have already decided that it's going to take a year. And so instead of thinking, oh God, this is taking me forever, it's more like, oh, I finished a small in a few days, the small being one of the months, and then I can move on. And I feel like I've accomplished something. I think looking at that project as 12 separate pieces makes me feel better. Okay, next on the pile is Plum Street Sampler. Plum Street Sampler's Shepherd's Song. I haven't shown this for a while, I realized, and I hadn't really made a lot of progress since the last time I showed you, except I did go to a stitch-in day yesterday at Always in Stitches in Noblesville, and this is the project I brought. I brought it because I knew, I mean, it was already easily kitted up, and I knew that I had a lot of grass to do, so I could just sit there and stitch grass for hours, and that's what I did. And I got several hundred stitches in. The woman next to me, I think she got like 20 stitches in the whole time I was there, but she was talking the whole time. And I participated in a conversation, but I still got stuff done. But so I feel good that it doesn't look like I made any progress, but I got like a whole inch of grass done, which is a big deal. But as I discussed when I showed this last time, I was going to make some changes, change the phrase, and I did stitch this dog, but I moved him down. So I teased you guys about the phrase that I'm going to use, but I don't think I ever actually told you what I was going to stitch. I just said that it was a line from Julie Andrews. Oh my God, Sound of Music. Oh, Sound of Music. So apparently there's, and I've never seen the movie, but apparently there's some line in there that says, one of the nuns says, and she says something like, and after all, wool from a black sheep is just as warm. Something like that. I'll get it right before I stitch it. But there are all these different colored sheep. And I think that works on a couple different levels, right? We're talking about people, but also really just sheep. Wool is wool is wool, right? So I liked it. And I am using the Called For floss. It's Classic Colorworks and Weeks Dye Works. There are a few DMCs, but the DMC are used in the butterfly, which I'm going to omit, and in this little shepherdess, which I am also going to omit. So I didn't actually need the DMC, which is good. I mean, I have them anyway, but And I am stitching this on 40 count French pear. French pear from number 12 Stitch Co. There will be a theme here. I really like number 12 Stitch Co. Hi, Nicola. I like her colors, her fabrics. This is Weiner base. Very easy to stitch on. Okay, so now you see the border. I'll show this up close. So when I went to Always in Stitches yesterday morning, I didn't really have any of this grass done. From the stripy sheep on, I really didn't have much done. And then I did put in a couple lengths of caper into this sheep here, which would be the darker color. So I got all this grass done, plus a little bit into this sheep. So not too shabby. I mean, I think I counted 11 lengths of thread that I used. And I usually get about 60 stitches of thread, so that's not bad. Maybe a little more than 60. Depends on where it ends up. And then I started another thread, but I didn't finish it. I left. Oh, that dog, look at him. He's so cute. And these pinks really pop. And the green looks nice with this green fabric, but it still stands out off of the background. Yeah. So let's see, I got to the polka dot sheep. So I am more than halfway done because I'm right about here. Yeah, that's not so bad. But then even when I get this done and this sheep, then I have all this house to do. The border goes so fast. The border goes so fast. I got up here and did the flowers and stuff and easy peasy. But another thing I'm going to omit is this flower, because I think I'm gonna stitch the words coming down here, something like this. But if I do have room, and I'll figure it out before I get too far, but I do really like these trees, so I might take another one of these trees and stick it here. Because like I said, I moved the dog down and I'll put my name somewhere else. So this is a long-term project, but I got a chunk done already. Not too shabby. All right, what did I do with, oh, I see, I folded it up there. It was nice to take it out again. I hadn't put any stitches in this in weeks and weeks. Okay, next on the pile is this little guy. On Valentine's Day, and actually a couple of days before, she showed a different version, but Michelle, Tabby Cat Linen, shared a photo of a finish of this on her Instagram and said that the free PDF was available on her website. So if you like this and you want the pattern, let me see if I can dig out the pattern. And I'll show it to you because it's free. Just go to her website and print it out yourself. And then check out her other patterns, because I stitched Harriet Hay and I really enjoyed that. It's like everything was branded Mill on the Floss and the linen was Tabby Cat Linen, but from what I understand, things are just going to all from now on be under the Tabby Cat brand. But so if you've heard of Mill on the Floss, it's the same woman, it's Michelle. So go to Tabby Cat online and go to shop and then PDFs, and you'll find ones that you can purchase, and then there are some that says €0 or $0, and you'll be able to add them to your cart and check out, but you don't actually have to submit any payment information, and then you'll be able to download it right away. So I printed out, she gives you a few different versions. There's a monochromatic, and then there's this one that has a few different colors. And the only changes I made, of course I picked my own colors from Stash, but what I ended up doing was, because I stitched this on Red Rose, this is 40 count Red Rose from number 12 Stitch Co, and it's beautiful. I mean, it is red. It's a beautiful color. Because I chose a dark fabric, you see these little burgundy bits in the flowers? Those weren't there. Those weren't there. So what I ended up doing was, because the red fabric was coming through these negative spots, didn't really care for how it looked. I thought the roses really need to be filled in. They need to be full. I don't want them to seem like they're see-through. So I tried a lighter color first. I didn't like that. I only had done a few of them, so it was easy enough to take out. And so then I scrambled through the few Soie d'Alger that I had and found a burgundy, and that's what I put in there. And then in these, I stitched, let's see if I can show you. So the dead center is the burgundy again, but then the 4 around the center here in the cross, that's the lighter pink. And then also in these 4 on the petals, it's also the lighter pink. Yeah. And then for the words, I chose a cream color. Let me show you. Where did my floss go? Here it is. These are the colors I chose. So I decided to use Soie d'Alger because I had Soie d'Alger for 2 kits and I had a lot of pinks between the 2. So I thought, well, let me use those, and I had never used them before. And so I just dug through and I found, what does that say? 3723, 1011. So this is the cream color that I use for the letters. And then 3011 is my light pink, 1014 is my darker pink. And this is like really bubblegum, but it looks good on the red. And then my burgundy is 2646. So initially I only had these 4 colors. That's what I was working with. But then I decided I needed that burgundy, so I dug that out. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. Only took 2 days. I started it on Valentine's Day. I only got a couple dozen stitches in. But then I got a lot of stitching in on Thursday. That's when I got the majority of this done. And then I finished it up yesterday. And it's so cute. And I was thinking, what am I going to do with this thing? I think I'm just going to have it made into a pin pillow, because I can imagine in the future for February displays or whatever to have a bowl full of cute heart red stuff. Yeah. And I thought this would be so easy to personalize with different colors. You can do blue flowers, purple flowers, whatever. And on a number of different fabrics, you'll have a completely different look. Because Michelle's, if you see hers on her Instagram, she stitched in a colorway like this on a cream colored fabric. It looks very pretty. And I like my colorway. And even though it's the same color scheme, it looks so different just because the fabric is dark. So I got that done. Okay. Another start and finish I got done since I have talked to you guys is this. Nicola announced this, was it late December, early January or something? And this is an exclusive. This is a Stitch in Time Saves 9. And this is an exclusive reproduction for Stitch in Time Hobart, Tasmania. And gosh, years ago, it must have been 2020. It was 2020. Ryan was supposed to go to Australia for a work trip that got canceled. And it worked out that the V8 supercars were going to be running in Tasmania. So he got himself tickets to go to Tasmania while he was there. He was so upset because he didn't get to go. And now he thinks he'll never get to go again. I was like, but if we get to go to Hobart, I can go to a Stitch in Time. He's like, clearly, that's why we should go. Yeah. But I did order this. I didn't order it the day that it was announced. I was like, I don't need that. And it's coming all the way from Australia. Well, actually, I ordered it. The shop got the money, but Nicola shipped it from England, right? She does that thing where she'll send just charts to certain countries so that the buyers can save on postage. But ultimately, I could not resist. It is such a pretty sampler. And that font up here, so weird. It looks very Art Nouveau. I really like it. I do. So I started it on, I used the called for 103 664, which is my favorite red. Do I have it right here? I do. I've got this little spool holder. And I keep 664 on it because I love it. I think this is the perfect red. I love it. I love it. And I've already gone through a spool of it. Oh my gosh, and almost finishing another. I chose 56 count Creme Brulee by Tabby Cat. and I had a really large piece of creme brulee, and so I was able to sort of cherry pick the spot. And this portion of fabric I thought was dark enough, mottled enough to be interesting, but light enough to show all of the beautiful letters. These bands in between were rather time consuming, honestly. I worked on this monogamously for a week, which means, if you guys are paying attention, that Carmel was neglected. But I got back to her and I caught up on her, and then I kind of neglected her again, so I'm a little bit behind, but that's okay. I'm so happy to have finished this. I ironed it, I took a photo of it, I posted it, and Nicola liked it, and Joe Florence commented on it, and I texted Laura. I was like, what a day. It was amazing. It was amazing. But you guys, it's so pretty. So if you have this chart, I mean, give yourself some time and be patient. Those bands, they're tricky, but it's so pretty. And I will also say that the bottom here, a stitch in time saves 9. On the front, there are definite spaces between the words. But in the chart, the letters are kind of evenly distributed. So I thought, do I want to follow the chart, or do I want to make the words more distinct? And ultimately that's what I did. I fudged it a little bit. It's not exactly as it is on the front, nor is it exactly as it is charted, but it is easy enough to read. Yeah, I do love this one though. So this is going to get framed for sure. I love how tiny it is. I think the tinier the sampler, honestly, the more likely I am going to want to do it on 56 count, just so it's even tinier. I started something the other day, and it's so bad. It's so tiny. I wanted to start it on 56 count, but I didn't have a 56 in a color that I was really feeling. So, but that was a finish. So eventually I'm going to have to send some stuff to the framer. Okay, next on the pile is the thing I was just talking about. Do I have this chart though? I do. Okay, so I had a very lucky find on the online the other day. I managed to score 3 charts out of the first red box from Hands Across the Sea. So because I've already been gifted the Greek sampler, and I stitched it and finished it with these 3 that I found, I now have 4. I got 4 out of that first box, which is amazing. And these were a screaming deal. So I don't know if she stitched them quickly and is ready to clean out her closet, or if she's just like, I'm never going to get to these. I don't know what it is, but I didn't care. I got Gertrude Bondi and Sophie Kane, or is it Sophia Kane? I do not remember, but the one from Bruges. And then I also got Hilda Weiner. So you see how tiny this one is. I really wanted to stitch this on 56 counts, but I didn't have a color that was going to work for me. So I found a 46. And I don't remember what this is. And I told myself, I'll remember what it is. It's on my Instagram, because I posted with all the, I'm sure I can remember. What is it? It's 46. It's got to be from number 12. Nicola, what is this? And I'm using the called for 103, which is 109. For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of this fabric. I just started this the other day. I started on the 13th. And I actually started stitching it in hand, but not using the sewing method. I thought, well, you know, I tried something very early last year with the sewing method, stitching this little piece in hand, and boy was it fast, but I didn't think the stitches looked very good to me compared to my other things, stitching in a hoop. So I decided I would try stitching in hand again, because I've seen it. I've seen Katie Strachan stitch in hand, and she has perfect stitches, but she does the stab and pull method. She you know, she doesn't do the sewing method even though she's stitching in hand. So it takes just as long as it does with a hoop. But I think she's got a little bit more give with the fabric. And so I actually started stitching this in hand, and I didn't mind it. It feels weird compared to stitching in a hoop. But over the last few months, I've had some pain in my wrist from just holding a hoop and like the weight of the fabric pulling it down. I did order a stand, and I have finally seen some movement. So hopefully I will have it next week sometime, and I'll be able to use that and then let you guys know how it is. But anyway, I was stitching in hand, and I actually started stitching upside down just so that I wouldn't have so much fabric in front of me. So you just turn the chart upside down and turn the, you know, if you're starting up here, get the stitches in and then turn it like that. So I really like this little one. This one's funny, and Nicola talked about this on the video when she was showing these, but Hilda will just throw in letters as she remembers them, apparently. Right? There's an I there. There's a J there. Yeah. But I like this. And I like the key. I like this pattern down here. And I love this font. So once I get back to Hilda, because I only put not long at all in her. I can't even remember how long it was. But I just wanted to start that. I was so excited about it. And so once I have the time to get back to her, I'm sure I'll be able to finish that quickly. Much more quickly than I was able to finish a stitch in time. Because even though that's a small sampler, there are a lot of stitches in that piece. So it took many hours in that week that I was stitching. Okay, Hannah Campbell. If I have a photo, and I think I do, of the status of Hannah last time I showed her, I will insert that here. But if not, forgive me. But I do know that even though I haven't stitched on Hannah in probably a good 3 weeks now. Before that time, I worked on her many days in a row and got several hours in each day and made a lot of progress. So you guys have seen all this if you've watched my previous videos, but look at that. Valley Pilati, August 12th, 1838, that's done. I stitched this heart and this little diamond made of eyelets. And then I worked down the border. And then here, I didn't get any more of these eyelets done, and that's okay, but I did some of the alphabet here. And then I worked down. I started on this vase. Work down, work down, work down. Look, it's a corner. That is the bottom corner. That is the bottom corner. And then this is the big tree. Let me show you. I should have shown you the chart first. Yeah. So I worked down this way, got to the corner. That once I was so close to the corner, I was like, I just gotta get there. I just gotta get there. I want to have 3 corners. And now I do. And I started the tree, and I was hoping to have a finish of the tree before I did my next floss tube, but it didn't happen. But maybe next time. And just getting to the corner and feeling, okay, I'm more than halfway through. I am in the bottom area, definitely. It's very exciting. Let me open this up. It's a little bit bigger. It's so pretty. I love these colors. I love it. So I do want to get back to her. You know, I kind of like she's a real person. Like the chart is a real person. Give Hannah a hard time for being such a pain in the patootie. But it is a beautiful, beautiful piece. And I'll be very happy to have this on my wall. And as I said, in the beginning when I was stitching on this legacy linen, I was like, oh my God, I hate this. But now I love it. I love how it feels. I love how it looks. And I'm okay stitching on it. I feel fine. Yeah. So I did buy more legacy linen at the attic. And then my mom, I was visiting her for a while. And she kind of asked me, well, do you have any things on your stitchy wish list? I was like, well, I can use some more fabric, and there are other colors of Legacy that I would like. So she got those for me, which was very nice. Okay, next on the pile, do I have this chart? Where did she go? Nope, I don't have the chart. Okay, I will insert a photo of the chart here so you can see Marie Louise Piret. She is a Hands Across the Sea. And Laura and I decided together that we would stitch this throughout the year of 2024. And Marie Louise has 12 rows of alphabet or lettering, whatever you want to call it, with a few like little borders in between, and then the border around the entire piece. So January's assignment was the first row of letters and approximately 1/3 of the outer border. And I got the top row done plus about half of one side of an outer border. So I'm a little bit ahead. But for February, I haven't finished my stitching. I just got this little design done, and there's another one the opposite way on this side, and then I have to do S through Z, right? I've got the S down, but I have to do the rest of the letters. So really not that bad. So if I can get a little bit more of this border done and then finish this row here, which actually has fewer stitches than this first row, I'll be good to go. If you would like to join in with our stitch along, we have got a hashtag for this. I don't know how many people have actually joined in. Laura hasn't really talked too much about this. She hasn't posted anything on social media about it. She did mention it in one of the videos that she did with Brenda. The hashtag is hashtag Marie Louise Piret Sal, S-A-L, and Marie Louise's last name is P-I-R-E-T. So if you would like to join in, whenever you want to join in throughout the year, you may tag either me, StitchStitchBead, or Laura at Maud and Mozart, and then use that hashtag so we can see everybody's progress. And Laura could use some encouragement because it's February and she doesn't want to do it anymore. And I know that she really likes this piece. And I know that because, well, she had it in her stash. She had all the silks for it. But also she has mentioned the completed model of it that is hanging at Hobby House Needlework. She's like, there's a model of it there and it's so pretty. I know, Laura. Yes. Let me guys tell you, I am using the called for 103s, and I'm using 46 count fabric from XG Designs. This is called Gold Sand. And there are going to be two sort of golden colors used in this piece. Right now, all I have on here are the red and the green, but there is also a blue and then two golden colors. And I thought that would really work well off of this fabric. Let me see if I can give you a good representation. You see that little bit of gold there. That's nice. Yeah. So I'm sorry I don't have the chart on me. I bet it's in the bag that I keep Marie in. Okay, now I have Carmel Azzopardi. Again, I don't have the chart. I'm so sorry. I should have pulled it out. I'll insert a picture here. This is Carmel Azzopardi. This was released last fall from Hands Across the Sea. It is a red sampler done completely in cross stitch over 2. So it is one of the many hat samplers that is suitable for linen, even weave, and Aida. If you're interested, I have gotten a couple questions about that since I've started doing Flosstube, because I like to stitch samplers. Now I'm sampler obsessed, and I have discovered a real love for high count linen, but you do not have to stitch these on high count linen. So Carmel is what I chose to be my hour-a-day project. Sarah of Sew Me Sarah, and you should check out her floss tubes if you haven't already. She has done multiple projects as a thread a day sort of thing. She just puts in one length of thread a day and, you know, it's done when it's done. And I decided that I wanted to do something similar, but an hour a day would work better for me. And so when I was talking about working monogamously on A Stitch in Time Saves 9, forcing me to neglect Carmel for a little bit, this is what I was talking about. So I stitched monogamously on A Stitch in Time until it was done because I was obsessed with it. But then once I was done with it, I came back to Carmel and I would do multiple hours a day. It's not like I was still only doing an hour a day, even if I missed a week. No, I want to keep up and catch up when I fall back, so that when I'm done with this, I can look at the calendar and say, oh, I started at Christmas Eve and it's been however many days since Christmas Eve, which means it's been that many hours that I've put into this. The bummer is, though, there was a day that I was caught up, so I was just going to do the hour a day, and that hour was spent stitching about half this basket in the wrong spot and then frogging it. So yeah, I put in an hour that day and got so few stitches put in because what happened was I was like, I'm going to start at this middle row, the top of the basket, the top of the like bowl of the basket, right? This long line here. So I count over and I count again and I count again. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start. And I started in the right spot, but I put the bottom there. So the whole basket was moved up 3, 6, 7 spots, something like that, 7 or 8 spots. And so when I was doing the handle up here, I was like, this is really close to the God. Take it out. But then I did finally finish the basket, and it is cute. And then I got to stitch the chicken. I love this chicken. I mean, this is the reason that I bought this chart. Was for the chicken. I also love this alphabet here. But I finished a good amount of the border. There is one more band under these words here. There's one more wide decorative band, and then the key goes down below it. So I'm almost to the bottom. Yeah. This one, determined to make it take longer, I guess. I decided I was going to, since it's a red thread. This is Soie Surfine. This is 2664. So it is my favorite color, my favorite Overa Soie color, but it's in the Surfine. But it's on such a light fabric. This is 56 count Old Mushroom by XJU. Anyway, I decided that I was going to keep it very neat and tidy on the back. And I really used this piece as a way to teach myself the pin stitch. So a lot of the threads that are used to make this or the key border are, I'm just bearing the tails. But for all these letters, I use the pin stitch. Same with these letters, I use the pin stitch. And then this wave, I had to use the pin stitch as well. These letters. And it's still magic. It's amazing it works, but it does work. And my stitches stay. And sometimes I'll start a thread with a pin stitch. I'm thinking, this cannot stay. This is not gonna last. This is gonna come apart. And then there will be times that I get that pin stitch in and I realize I've made a mistake, so I gotta rip it out. And it is a pain in the butt to get that out. So I think, well, I think I'm doing all right. I think I'm doing okay. So that is my hour a day project. And considering I started Christmas Eve, so not quite 2 months ago, and I think I'm more than halfway through. What do you guys think? I know I just folded this up. Oh yeah, about halfway? Yeah, so that's not so bad. So finishing something in 4 or 5 months when you're only putting an hour a day into it and doing other things, that's not so bad. Yeah, that one is so pretty. It's amazing how big it is, even on 56 count. So I can't imagine stitching it on like 36 or 40 or something. It would be big. It'd be so big. Okay, the last thing I have in my pile here, I do have some other things I'll talk about, but okay. When I went to Sampler Symposium in January and had an amazing time. Oh, here's the book. Here's the book. Take a long look. Now I don't have to insert that photo. I mean, I should probably insert that photo anyway so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And go, she didn't insert that photo. I know I've done that before. I go back and rewatch my videos once after they're uploaded. And I think, oh, I missed that photo. I missed inserting what I was saying I was going to insert. But this is, so, here's the decorative band I was talking about. Yeah, so if I'm not at the 50% mark, I'm pretty darn close. Okay, there's that book. When I went to Sampler Symposium in January, last month, we of course got a bunch of goodies, got a bunch of charts that are exclusive to that event for a year. So this Hands Across the Sea was given to us, but this will be released in the future. This is Anne Ogston, 1868. It is a Scottish sampler, and I love it. It's colorful, it's bright, it's a little wild. And I decided to start this on January 25th as part of Alba Stitcher's Mighty Wee Nation Sal. Hashtag Mighty Wee Nation Sal started on January 25th to honor Robert Burns, the Scottish poet. So I did start that, and I chose, I believe this is Salted Caramel from number 12 Stitch Co. This must be a 46 count. I think this is a 46 count. This is so much bigger than I would expect it to be just by looking at that photo. And I saw the model in person, but I look at this photo and you're like, oh, it's such a cute small sampler. It's actually pretty big, and this is on 46 count. Yeah. This one has been really fun. It's got a lot of colors, and you know, I'm not in love with stitching one letter and then having to switch to a different color. But what I end up doing is once I got a few letters in, then, you know, I was able to kind of count and stitch, and that way I would be able to do a few letters in one color at a time, jumping around a bit. But these big letters were really fun, and that heart is cool. I told Mo, I said, there's a red Mo on it, it's perfect, it's for you. And then there's an AM for Audrey Marine, and that's in the chart. It's because Scottish samplers, a lot of them will have initials, family members' initials stitched into them by the girl or woman that's stitching it. Look at that weird bird. Weird bird. Yeah, so this didn't take me too many days to do. I have put it aside for a few days. I want to get back to it, especially since I saw, you know, the more I look at this, the more things I see. And I noticed that she finished it March 18th. And I thought, oh, well, it'd be really cool to finish it March 18th of this year. But I know that is just about a month away, and I still have a lot to do. But considering I finished all these letters and the heart, most of this, what else did I finish? Oh, and I kind of worked down here. I think I can finish it by March 18th. And if I don't, it's no big deal. I just thought it would be cool to finish it the same day that she finished it. Yeah. And same with Hannah Campbell. Hannah Campbell has an August 12th date, I think. So I kind of made that my goal-ish. Because that's 6 months away. I can finish Hannah in another 6 months. Yeah, because now I'm well past the 50% mark on her. So as I say, this is 46 count Salted Caramel by number 12 with called for 103s. And she takes several colors, 4, 5, 6, 15 colors. And they're all bright and wild. Let me see if I can, right here are her colors. Look at these purples, orange, pinks. I really like this color, whatever it is. Pettiwinkle. Do you guys hear Brad Pitt saying that? Because I do. Yeah. This is my second spool of 664. Not just on Anne. I had used some 664 before, and then this is the color that A Stitch in Time took, and I burned through it, and then the berry border on Anne is taking it as well. But yeah, like this beautiful green. Yeah, she's got really pretty colors. So if I can finish that next month, that'd be great. But finishing that little heart, the token of love piece that I did, that I finished just yesterday, it made me realize that I really miss stitching smalls. They're so gratifying. You can finish them so quickly, right? And you're like, yeah, I finished something. Instead of stitching another sampler, Audrey. But I do love samplers. So I kind of went through my stash and thought, well, maybe I can find some smalls that I can get back to, keep going on, whatever. And I pulled out a couple things. It snowed yesterday a lot, like a lot for Indiana. Anyway, this is not new to me. I used to live in the UP, so this is no big deal. But it's like, wow, it's white on the ground. And so I went through my smalls and I thought, oh, well, this is cute. And it's actually snowy outside. Maybe I should stitch this. And this I realized I got as a bargain. It was on sale at Always in Stitches. Yeah, this is so cute. And I thought, well, I could stitch it on Vintage Country Mocha, or I could stitch it on this. This is 40 count peppermint ice from number 12. Look how pretty. And I thought, I don't have most of the colors. This is what I have. I have 2 colors that are required. But this sort of teal, green, whatever, what do we call this? It looks like it would be a darker version of this, right? So I think it would coordinate very nicely. And the snowman would pop nicely on it. The red would look great. So I think I need to get that up and stitch that little thing. I think that'd be cute. And then I also pulled out my Halloween stuff because I had been working through this Brenda Gervais book. I stitched this one, Trick or Treat, and I stitched Ghosts and Goblins, but I also want to stitch this one with the 2 cats with the little bows on their tails and the little pumpkins. I want to do that one. And I got this awesome fabric from XJU. This is Grandpa's Sleeve, 40 count. One of Teresa Kogut's new Nashville releases, the one with the really fat black bird, is stitched on this fabric, and I recognized it right away. I was like, oh, I love that fabric and I love that fat bird. So I need that fat bird. And I can stitch it on this fabric. But here's my Trick or Treat. So cute, right? And then here's my Ghosts and Goblins. Now, for those who may not like this, I chose this fabric because I thought it looked very Halloween-esque. But when you're stitching your ghost, some of the black spots will show through his stitches, right? Because it's not completely opaque. But I like that because it makes him look even more like a ghost, sort of translucent. I really liked that. But I used the called for, oh, and I love this little bow. Look, I did such a good job. I have experience stitching little bows and then, or tying little bows and then stitching them onto things because Mill Hill Santas, they come out with 3 Santas each year and they're about yay big. All of their mustaches are bows that you have to tie and make. And it's less fiddly than it sounds, but you tie your little bow and then you snip the ends and then you stitch it onto the face. So I've done that many times. I stitched dozens of those Santas. So I still have a good amount of this fabric left, you'll see. Look at that. And yes, one is on one side and one is on the other. Yeah, because I stitched this Trick or Treat first and then realized that, oh, actually the more saturated dyeing, is over here. So yeah, so I switched when I did the Ghosts and Goblins. Anyway, I really love that fabric. I have not been unhappy with any of XJU's fabric. So I want to stitch this one, and then I think I might be done with this book because I'm not super interested in stitching this lady. And then there's one other, there's this one, which I'm not crazy about either. And then this one with the bird, I like the stack of pumpkins, but I don't really care about the thing as a whole. So I'm going to stitch this one. That'll give me a trio out of this book, and I think I'll be happy with this. This is Jack-O-Lantern Jubilee. This is still widely available. You should be able to find it at your L&S if they carry Brenda Gervais. So I pulled that out, and that way if I finish, oh, and Laura, thank you for the what is this, the thread keep, this guy here. I put that with my Halloween stuff. So once I finish everything I want to do out of that book, then I can, you know, take these colors and use them. Because this bunch was actually for something I already finished. And then these are the additional colors needed for that Jack-O-Lantern Jubilee. So yeah, I want to get back to doing some smalls. I finished a lot of things last year. I finished over 30 items last year, but so many of them were smalls. So look at all the things I finished. Yeah, but they're small, but it was great. But they're still not fully finished. I don't know, you know how it goes. So I'm not giving up my samplers. I have a lot of samplers to do, a lot of samplers I'm working on, and so many more that I want to start. But I think I should allow myself to do some smalls in between. It's fun. And I also want to have more ornaments on my Christmas tree next year. So I pulled out the Sweetheart Tree, 12 Days of Christmas. This is 1 through 6. There's also 7 through 12 that I have as well. Thanks, Mom. And I have been stitching these on Cafe au Lait. Now I chose my own colors. Also, these are, I think the called for would be 32. Yes, this design may be worked on either 28, 32, or 35. Well, I'm stitching it on 40. And I'm making them rectangular, which is an option. You have that option. This isn't just something I made up. They actually have that design included as well. Maybe not in this one, but in the individuals, certainly. Yeah, not in this big booklet, this cardstock booklet, but when you buy the individual numbers, on the inside, it has like the pennant flag shape, but then on the back, it shows you the alternate, just rectangular. Now, I chose to do the rectangular not because I think it looks better, but because I know that it will be easier and less expensive to finish. So, this is one, and I haven't added any beads, and I'm not sure that I will. But this, I think I chose ribbon red for this red. Let me see. Oh, and here are floss drops from number 12 Stitch Co. The Halloween floss drops were also from number 12 Stitch Co. Let's see. Yes, ribbon red. It is red, and I love it. So I thought it was the perfect one. And I also have to say that I chose Gentle Art Autumn Leaves for the pears in the pear tree. And I love this color. I wish the variegation came through more in this little stitch, but you have so few stitches with which to work that it doesn't necessarily come through. But I like how this little partridge turned out. And then for 2, for the turtle doves. Now, you'll notice my turtle doves are quite a bit different than these turtle doves. These are white with a pink breast over the cream colored 2. But I looked up turtle doves and I found absolutely magnificent photos of these blue and gold, I think they're English turtle doves, and I loved the colors. So I went through my stash and I found some things that I thought would work. And I love how the blue and gold contrasts with the red and pops on top of that cream number. So I'm very happy with that. Oh, it's so pretty. So I want to do, look, I feel like if I do one a month, then I'll have all 12 of them done by the end of the year, right? And I have the benefit of already having finished 1 and 2. So I just need to do 3. But let me show you the colors. So let's see, Blacksmith Blue and Blue Heron must have been what I picked for the turtle doves. And then I bet I also used, what would I have used? Either apple cider or maybe I used this autumn leaves again. Also got blackbird in here, molasses, English ivy, dried thyme, oatmeal, cattail. Cattail I think I used on somewhere on the birds, I'm not sure. Yeah, this is a nice combination of colors. Christmassy, but got some variation. And I didn't necessarily want all of the ornaments to be only red and green and brown, which is what I was saying. Now, when I get to 4, the collie birds, not calling birds, but collie birds, those are blackbirds. So I'm going to use a variegated black, or like a variegated dark, dark, dark purple, or dark, dark, dark blue, something like that. Because I'm thinking about like ravens and blackbirds. They look black. If a kid colored them, they'd color them black. But when you see them in the sun, you see all that variegation. So, and I'm using variegation in the other one, so I want to do that as well. So for my collie birds, those are definitely going to be black. But I think I'll keep the hens probably similar, and certainly this goose will be similar. Yeah, unless I want to make him a big fat white goose. I don't know. I'm just having fun with it, picking colors and changing the birds. Yeah, so I'll go through that. So I need to do some smalls. And actually, you know, if I want these to be on my tree, I should actually finish them by October or something. So whether I'm the one finishing them or if I need to send them out to someone to be finished, then I gotta have time. Okay, the only other things I have to show are something I got from my mom and something I got from Laura. So mom and I exchanged gifts a couple weeks ago, you know, just cause. So I got her some of her favorite yarn in like really obnoxious pink colors. And then she had texted me and was like, is your 1, 2, 3 stitch wish list up to date? Let me look. And then she picked something off of it. I really do love this one. This is not a huge piece. It's 123 by 176 stitches. But it is pretty dense stitching. But I love how it looks. I got that Nightingale fabric, legacy fabric, which is like a mauve color, like a dusty mauve, and I thought maybe this would work on it. But then I also think maybe I just want to stitch it on that Jersey cream. I can't really decide. I'm not sure. But these are most of the colors used. I think the burgundy that I used for A Token of Love, I think that is also supposed to be part of this. What color is that? 2646. Yeah. So this burgundy color is also in this piece. But I stole it. But eventually, you know, these need to go on. The rest of these need to go on Flosstubes anyway. So yeah, so she ordered what she could, and they were still missing a few of the Soie d'Alger. So I'll just have to fill in where I'm missing. This is really pretty though. Yeah, and then the other thing that I got was, if you watched Brenda and Laura's last video, you'll hear her talking about Laura and I making a trade for silks for Margaret Anderson. I sent her my Soie d'Alger because she decided she wanted to stitch it on a 36, I think, 36 or 32, but I think 36. And she knows I like spooled silk, so she sent me the 103s, which took 2 weeks to show up from Chicago. But they made it. And she sent another little goodie in there as well, and a funny little note. So it's about bacon bits, Laura. Bacon bits is what you wrote. She's like, I don't remember what I wrote. But it was funny. This is Margaret Anderson. I had hoped to start her on the 25th of January as well for Mighty Wee Nation sale, but that's okay because I've got enough going on. I want to finish a couple of these projects that I have in the works before I start another sampler. And then also Nicola Parkman, even though this was an exclusive to a Hobby House retreat, Nicola Parkman has now released this chart and has accompanying videos to go with it because there are a lot of specialty stitches. So if you are interested in this chart, you can get it in PDF format on Hands Across the Sea Sampler's website. But then you'll have to kit up, you know, get your own silks or DMC. But these colors, so I think I want to do it on a dark fabric. There are a lot of dark, moody colors in here, but I would love to see, you know, how this red or this like mustardy green pops off of a darker fabric. I was thinking either Autumn Beach from number 12 or I have like a mocha beige or cocoa beige or something like that from X2. And then I also have a new piece. I have one piece of Mason linen. It's a 40 count, which isn't really what I would want for the spooled silk necessarily. I like 46 or 56. And also it's the darkest of the sewing box colorway. So I'm gonna just need to call the attic and get all the sewing box colors. Because Mason linen, what they do is they'll have like a color family, and there will be a light, a medium dark, and a dark. So there's sewing box, there's button box, there's chatelaine, and there are a couple other things. But the sewing box, those colors are very warm, and I like them. I got the darkest available, and I love it. It's like dark, rich caramel, kind of burnt caramel. I really like that. But I think if I got the lighter options in that color family, then I would be able to use those for a lot of different things. Yeah, like I need more stuff. I only have one box of fabric though, and I look at it and I'm like, I have plenty of fabric, and then I get started on a new chart, or I want to get started on a new chart. I'm like, I just don't have the right fabric. I just knocked the table and all the spools are wiggling. Okay. Well, I actually got this done in an hour, which is amazing. And I think I showed you everything that I have to show you. And I only have to insert photos of two things, right? Two charts that I forgot. Marie Louise and Carmel. Don't forget to do that. Okay. So the plan now is for me to come back with another video. Let's see. Today is the 17th. So next Saturday would be the 20th. And then the following Saturday would be the 2nd of March. Is that right? I think that's right. And that's right before I go out of town again. But I can't complain. We've got a very busy 2024 ahead of us, but a lot of it will be very fun. So no complaints. And I get to stitch on the airplane, right? So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your comments and just everything. Thank you. Thank you. And if you want to find me on Instagram, I am at StitchStitchBead there. I try to post regularly, but you know. And I want to thank particularly Laura. She's always texting me, and I feel now I can text her about silly things. We were texting about IndyCar plans last night, so that was fun. But I also want to thank Brenda. Every time I post something, she at least likes it, but she'll often leave a comment and she'll tell me how pretty it is. Thank you, Brenda. And it's really nice. It's nice to feel like I've connected with people. It is nice. Even yesterday when I went to the Stitch In at Always in Stitches, I got home and Ryan was like, well, did you have a good time? And I was like, well, it was good. I got out of the house. And he's like, you didn't have a good time? And I was like, no, I did actually. And it was just so relaxing. You didn't even really think about it. It wasn't like a big party or anything, and I didn't have to be on. I was just sitting in a chair and stitching. And is that really fun? Yeah, it is. I was sitting in a chair and stitching and just having, you know, whatever, BSing with these other ladies. So it was a good time. But thanks to Brenda, thanks to Laura for all your support, and everybody else who comments, shares, likes, whatever. Thank you very much. So I will be back in 2 weeks. I don't think I'll have another finish based on the things that I showed you today. None of that's going to be finished. We'll see. Maybe I'll have a small to show you. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And I'll see you in a couple weeks. Happy stitching.